Hey, and welcome back to Actionable Insights, where we're taking one great idea from a leading business book and sharing it with you in 3 minutes or less. This week we've got a treat. We've got Great by Choice by Jim Collins and Morton T. Hansen. And if you know anything about Jim Collins' books, you know that they're extremely rich with data. He spends years, sometimes even a decade, working on his books, and this one is no exception. Fantastic read, rich with great stuff to back it up. So what are we talking about in this book? In Great by Choice, we're talking about 10Xers. 10Xers are companies that outperformed their competitors in the open stock market by a ratio of 10 to 1 over the course of 30 years. So these are companies that did 10 times what their average competitor did over the course of 30 years. So how did they do it? Well, Jim and his colleague talk about the 10X paradox. And the 10X paradox has to do with our expectation of these companies that have wild success. We think that they're the ones swinging for the fences, going after the brand new innovation. But that's not entirely true. The paradox is that they actually balance that aggressive curiosity, exploration of new ideas with an almost like paranoia. And the way that Jim and his colleague define it, there's really 4 categories of the 10X paradox. One is fanatic discipline, sticking to their core values, understanding extremely clearly who they are and never deviating from that. Productive paranoia is the second piece, always asking what if, what could happen, just thinking about the inevitable bad luck that will befall all our companies at some point and being prepared for that because constantly thinking about it. The third thing they bring to the table is empirical creativity, meaning that they're absolutely creative, but they're innovative through testing and direct observation. And this harks back to the lean startup that we summarized last week. I encourage you to check it out. And finally, the last category, 10X paradox, is level 5 ambition. That has to do with pursuing or aspiring to something greater than their own personal wealth or success, something legacy-like to leave in the world. So that's the 10X paradox. The second thing that they identified is the 20-mile march. And what all these companies did well was they defined very clearly the mark that they had to hit within the next period of time, 6 months, 12 months, no longer than 12 months. Now, this may sound obvious, but they always set a benchmark, and that benchmark was the one that they hit come hell or high water. Didn't matter what bad luck befell them, they were going to hit that number. The other thing it did, though, and this is sort of counterintuitive, is that it would actually temper their success. If they had wild success and they achieved that number in a shorter period of time, they would actually slow back. They wouldn't exert themselves and keep going down that path. They'd be more rational about it, and they'd just make sure they hit those increments every step along the way. Keep in mind, these are companies that were 10X over 30 years. They're built to last. The last thing we want to talk about is bullets before cannonballs. In Great by Choice, Collins talks about this curiosity, this willingness to try a lot of new things, not being stodgy and sticking to what's worked in the past, but actually trying a whole lot of new things, but trying them small, not committing everything to the table, but firing little bullets at the activity that they wanted to try out. And only once they knew that it worked would they scale up and bet the farm on it. And that's this whole idea of bullets before cannonballs. So those are your actionable insights for Great by Choice. I hope you enjoyed it, and until next time, I'm Chris Taylor.